The Tri-Valley Haven provides essential support for survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and homelessness. And the turkey drop is actually part of the holiday program that Tri-Valley Haven does to support local families in need.
They support about 800 to 900 families, which consists of between 3,000 and 4,000 family members here in the Tri-Valley. Welcome to Love, Listings, and Legacy, where love, community, and building a lasting impact meet. We are Mony and Sophie, a husband and wife real estate team, sharing our perspectives on life, real estate, and philanthropy, our stories about resilience and service. Join us each week as we share our journey of life, business, and giving back, all while building a legacy for our family and community. This is Love, Listings, and Legacy, where hearts, homes, and philanthropy come together. Let's get started.
Hi, welcome back everyone to another episode of Love, Listings, and Legacy with
Mony Nop
and Sophie Mao. All right, so in this special episode, we wanted to really just dive into an annual event that we have been doing together, and of course, wanted to share the man behind this great event that we do for the community. It's going to be the 9th annual Mony Nop Turkey Drop.
Exciting, yeah. Whoa.
Okay, I don't know. I just thought I'd try out the new sound effects. So, Mony.
Yes.
AKA my husband. I'm so excited for you to really share in your own words what the annual Mony Nop Turkey Drop means for you.
Yes, I'm excited to share. So let's get started.
All right. So, first of all, I could not start without introducing the nonprofit organization that we are supporting as part of the Mony Nop Turkey Drop, and that is the Tri-Valley Haven. The Tri-Valley Haven provides essential support for survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and homelessness. And the turkey drop is actually part of the holiday program that Tri-Valley Haven does to support local families in need.
They support about 800 to 900 families, which consists of between 3,000 and 4,000 family members here in the Tri-Valley.
Yeah, and what I'm really hoping to aim and do in this episode, of course, with my husband Mony's help, is to share with the community what the turkey drop is all about, maybe some of the work from Tri-Valley Haven, and really to inspire our community to come together and support local families in need this holiday season. So, with no further ado, let's take it all the way back 9 years ago. Can you share with us, how did this idea come about?
Well, first of all, let me share a little bit of information about Tri-Valley Haven. I think it's really important to know the background, who they are. They are a local shelter for women and children for over 40 years in Livermore. In fact, I sold a home that had the rotary phone where women used to call in, and then they would get picked up by the advocate, and they would help the women that are involved in domestic violence. So that organization's been around a long, long time. So it's an honor and privilege to sell that home of the founder's home that started the Tri-Valley Haven domestic violence shelter. But I've learned about them in 1995 when I became a police officer in Livermore at the age of 22 years old. They used to send the advocate, their employees to come right along with me as a police officer. And through that, I've learned of what they do, how they do it, from the different houses they provide, the shelters, the food, the domestic violence calls that comes in, the advocacy. They do restraining order clinics and whatnot. It's a big organization, been around a long time to help a lot of families here. And believe it or not, in any community, no matter how big or small, domestic violence always one of the biggest calls, one of the scariest calls for us as police officer.
Right.
But it's really, really important to know that. In addition to that, they also provide advocacy for rape victims.
Yes.
And many other services that I may not even know about. But they just do incredible things to help the family, to make sure that no matter how difficult the situation may be, that the women and the children get helped, and that the family stabilizes as a result of the crisis that's going on in their life. So, and it happens every day of our lives, that's domestic violence going on.
So you mentioned learning about Tri-Valley Haven from your days as a Livermore police officer and responding to domestic violence calls and, or, any cases of sexual assault that occur in the community. And I think that was where you had learned a lot about the advocacy and what it means when you are responding and how to help victims. Can you share maybe one thing that you learned from the Tri-Valley Haven advocate, like how to handle these calls, anything that really resonated with you at the time?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, you have to be much more sensitive to the needs of the victims, especially most of them are obviously women. And not to say that men can't get battered, but a lot of times women is usually the victims that we come across. In fact, one of my first case that the advocacy came out and helped me was a woman that was struck with a hammer 14 times on the head by her husband with a hammer.
Wow.
And and I'll never forget sitting in the trauma room at the hospital, Eden Hospital in Castro Valley, where the doctor had to shave her head and suture up and then stitch her up to make sure all the holes that were punctured in her head were sealed. That was traumatic for me because it's something that I grew up with in my own household, but able to see the victims, what they had to go through. That was it's taken back a little bit, and it's very, very emotional to see that. So you just want to reach out and help the family because it's not only impacting not only her, but her children, her family members, and of course, in this case, the husband who committed this crime against her. The justice part will have to take over, and then eventually he ended up going to court and got convicted and spent 15 years in prison for that call, for that incident.
Yeah, so when we hear about these cases in our community, especially when it comes to domestic violence, it doesn't just end with that call to the
Correct.
police. What the Tri-Valley Haven does, and I am so honored and privileged to also serve on the board of Tri-Valley Haven, but just learning about the continuous work that's required, obviously shelter, food, clothing, counseling. There's a whole journey of healing.
That's
and
right.
Many times a lot of the survivors will oftentimes go back to the abuser.
Oftentimes. It takes about 6 to 7 times before they finally leave for good.
Right.
But there's a lot of a part of it, right? Part of it is children. But the biggest one is the finance. I see that the finance will be cut off from the women oftentimes, and they don't have any other place to go. But imagine if they're from another country.
Right.
They don't speak the language. They don't have a lot of friends here.
Resources.
You get isolated. So this is where this type of shelter will come in and help these many victims. So that's incredible.
Absolutely. Now, when we go back 9 years ago, in the turkey drop, right? It's such a clever name, the Mony Nop turkey drop. I mean, it rhymes. It has a good, fun ring to it. So can you share with our audience, how did the turkey drop even start?
Yeah, I was in a meeting one day, and after the meeting, Christine Dillman, who was the assistant exec director to Tri-Valley Haven, she's been here well over 30 years now, I think. But she came to me one day and said, "You know what, Mony? We were talking about different things, and we love the nonprofit. We're in a nonprofit board together." She said, "I want to tell you something." I said, "What's that?" She said, "We ran out of turkeys for our family this year." Or last year. I said, "What? Say that again?" I said, "We're in the Tri-Valley. How can that even be possible?
Right.
This is one of the richest area of all that I know of, right? The GDP in this area right now is about $42.5 billion in the 5 cities that we're in here." And I was like, that can't happen. Mm-hmm. So I brought the idea back to my team. And at the time, my real estate team, we had about 4 or 5 people in there. And one of them, Marina Plute, actually, she goes, I said, "I want to do this turkey drive." She said, "What about Mony Nop turkey drop?" I'm like, wow.
So Marina came up with
Marina
the name.
Plute came up with
Marina.
it. I got to give credit to her for that.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And she came up with it, and I thought it was a clever name. And we took it to a designer, started designing a logo, and it's been here since. So that's how the event started. But also, in addition to that, it's not just an event that just started or something that we collect turkeys, gift cards, and cash for. But it's also much more meaningful in that to me because, I grew up in the war the first 7 years of my life and the next 4.5 years in refugee camps in Thailand and the Philippines. Well, for me, as a child, those early years, I didn't have enough food to eat, so I went to bed hungry every night. So at times, I would go to bed hungry, like so hungry that my stomach hurt so bad that like literally had to cry yourself to sleep. And knowing how bad that was, and knowing how difficult that was, and here in America, I just didn't want to see that happen to someone else.
Absolutely.
So we had to do something. So that's why the name came up and the event came up, and now we've been at it for 9 years.
Wow.
So,
I mean, first of all, I think just the call to action and the feeling that you needed to do something. I think sometimes we could be so immune. I don't want to say immune, but kind of desensitized from that, and just kind of, oh, well, that's just how the world is. Or, hey, that's just it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, when you have money and you have food, you never have to worry about it. Only those who have never had it or don't
Sure.
have enough of it will feel it. It's just like saying, well, housing is not a number one issue for me. Well, if you have a house, right, that you bought, or if you have several homes, well, that doesn't mean anything to you.
you inherited.
You inherited, you have
Yeah.
all this money, then it doesn't impact you. But those that don't have it always impact them more greatly than others.
No, absolutely. And I think that is probably the driving force behind your need to do a turkey drop.
Absolutely.
And since we've been in each other's lives, honey, I just want to say it's the one event that I really do look forward to every year. I mean, not only are we doing something for others just without wanting anything in return, I feel like it's also a lot of fun. Like,
Yeah.
do you want to share with the audience also what we do every year?
Yeah, well, first of all, we met, 3.5 years ago? We've been married almost 3 years now. And you're the only one that's ever put on a turkey costume of all the people I involved in my life. So thank God for that. And that led to our marriage,
'Cause
right?
they weren't real.
They weren't real. They just get embarrassed putting on a turkey costume.
Yeah.
But it's something that I want to stand out, want to be different. And then from the get-go, I said, you know what? I'll buy a turkey costume to wear it. Like which adult out there that to wear a costume in the middle of November and then to decide to do this? And I've done that. And, it's about showing the spirit of Thanksgiving and showing the spirit of giving. That's what it's all about. And then it's been an honor to have met you. And then now that we've been doing it together for the last 3 years, and it's been crazy. It's been awesome. And it's a lot of fun, You and I get an opportunity to wear a turkey costume, and we
Yeah.
might have to upsize it a little bit because
We
we grew into it, a little bit.
Well, I was going to say that we also need to update it because,
Yeah.
fashion.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be Mr. and Mrs. Turkey, but
Yeah.
fashion changes
That's right.
every year, honey.
That's right.
So I feel
Yeah.
like we need an update.
Yeah, but
Make it more fashionable.
Right, but we get to wear this turkey costume for 3 hours, and of course people drive from all over the place, not only in Livermore.
That's right.
But people I've met people from Pleasanton, from San Ramon. That's because they hear us on KKIQ, channel 101, 90. No, I'm sorry, KKIQ radio station. That's what I'm trying to say. And we've been broadcasting channel 30. Well, all the local newspaper. We got all the ads, and it's just been fun. And the best part that I love about it is that when people go, when I ask them where are they from, they said, Mony, I'm from San Ramon. I go, wow. Well, first of all, how did you hear about us? He said, I heard you on the radio, right? But here's the best part about it. They said, I come down here because this is something so small. Costs $20 for a turkey. Costs $30 for a turkey. It just depends how big it is. But I get to participate. I get to make a
People
difference.
feel included.
Yeah, people feel included. And to me, that's what means more to me than anything else, really, because people felt included. That is so small that people can get involved in it and give back to the community. That's the best way about it.
No, absolutely. I think as community members who do show up year and year again and again, you're basically helping to create a tradition of generosity and support. And that's really what it is. It's involving the community. You can't fix world hunger. You can't do,
you can on a small level, but yes.
No, but
I hear what you're saying.
You can't snap your fingers and make the world's problems go away. But you as an individual, if you can bring a frozen turkey or a gift card or cash donation, and it's going to a family right here who is looking just to have a nice Thanksgiving with their family, I think.
Or gifts for their children.
Yeah, I mean, just the things that sometimes some of our community members, our family members, sometimes we take those things for granted, right? But to your point, going back to what you said, if you grew up lacking something or not having it so readily available, you value it a lot more and you
Absolutely.
don't take it for granted. And, in our upcoming episode, I'm going to have the honor and privilege of actually speaking with Christine Dillman, who's our current executive director of the Tri-Valley Haven. And I'm just excited to share her experience and her journey, and really just asking her to highlight, the work that her staff does
Absolutely.
on a day-to-day. They are
They
unsung
do
heroes.
unsung heroes. They do amazing things. I mean, it takes a whole team, a whole village, a whole community to come
Absolutely.
together just to help the family in needs in our community. That's just one amazing organization here in Livermore. There's just so many amazing nonprofits like hers.
Yeah. Well, for our listeners here, just who've never participated in the turkey drop, could you give a flavor of just maybe like the number of turkeys? I mean, just on average, each year, the number of turkeys that get donated by our community members?
Yeah, each year, first of all, we've been doing it for 9 years, and the most turkeys we've ever collected in one event was well over 300 turkeys.
Wow.
But each year, for sure, we collect over 100 turkeys every year. But in addition to that, there's also money coming in cash and also in gift
Absolutely.
cards. And there's been some very, very generous people. You could come in with $10, $20, $50, $100, $500. I've had clients that drop off $1,000, because they felt so blessed, and that they also felt so blessed to be able to give, and then they came and gave quite a bit to the community, which is amazing. But the bottom line is that no matter how big or small your donation and what you have, it's about coming by and having a thoughtfulness, a consideration to think about others during a holiday and a time of need, that they come with $5 and $10. When I ran for mayor, by the way, I appreciate the $5 donations as much as a $5,000 or $500 or $50.
It comes from the heart.
Because it comes from the heart, because it
Absolutely.
means something, because that's all they can do. The fact that they gave that's what that matters to me most.
Oh, that's amazing. So, would you like to share some of the details of our upcoming 9th annual Mony Nop Turkey Drop?
Yeah, so this year is going to take place on Sunday, November 24th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And all our events are usually 3 hours. But of course, when you arrive, we'll have signs all over the place. You could see the sign as you pull into the parking lot at City Hall in Livermore. And when you arrive there, you'll see Sophie and I dressed up in our turkeys, and then hopefully
Look for the turkeys.
Look for the big fat turkeys, and then you'll see other staff wearing, anything has to do with Thanksgiving as well, the giving the spirit.
Yep.
And then a lot of staff from the Tri-Valley, and there's some volunteers that are there just to have you drive in, open your trunk, open your doors. We'll take the turkeys, put them in the bins, and please stop by to take pictures with us. And this year, we're providing lunch for our staff as well, but I'm sure there's going to be extra for the public as well. If you want to park your car and just have hot dogs and a hamburger and the drinks with us, and just kind of hang out and with all of us, we would truly appreciate that as well.
Yeah, and just to add to that as well, we'll all be there, and the amazing staff from Tri-Valley Haven will be there with the food pantry truck. And so all of your donations, whether it's frozen turkeys or any canned goods, gift cards, cash, our Tri-Valley Haven staff will be there to give you a receipt, of course, and also to say thank you. All of the donations will be collected and stored by the Tri-Valley Haven food pantry, and it will be distributed
The next day on Monday. Yeah.
On Monday.
So Monday is a total program. So on Monday, the next day, it's going to take place at Asbury Church. They've already people signing up, and you could sign up now to be one of the recipients of the giving. And basically on Monday, the people that have signed up, they book their appointment. They come by at a certain time. They get the grocery bags as well as gift cards and things like that to take back to the family for Thanksgiving. So, but make sure to sign up now. But that's what they do the next day. Is
Right.
They do all
No,
the
that's great.
distribution.
And for any of our listeners, if you want information, please visit www.trivalleyhaven.org. All the information is on there. So it sounds like,
First of all, real quick, they can make a donation online there, and please mention Mony Nop Turkey Drop on there, so this way we know that it came from
Right.
Them hearing about this event.
Exactly.
As well.
So adding a note that it is for the holiday program and the turkey drop. So it sounds like every donation, whether it's large or small, it's really going to help our families who are going through difficult time, right?
Right. Could be crisis, could be difficult time, could be just, just in need of an uplift, just a stepping stone to what they're about to do with their lives as well. So that's it.
Yeah, and I think also when you're all out shopping for your families for Thanksgiving, I hope that think of our families here, your own neighbors who are survivors of these horrible, events in their life that is life changing, and it takes a lot of courage to leave an abusive environment and also to go through healing. And then if you have children, you also need to be helping your children heal and come out strong from the experience. And so, again, everyone, additional ways to help is you could also, reach out to us. If you can't make it on November 24th, we are accepting donations for the Mony Nop turkey drop. So mark your calendars, Sunday, November 24th. Right in the parking lot of Livermore City Hall. Please come, and we are going to start launching all the social media. So if you are so far away you can't help, we just ask if maybe you could share our event on your social media to your friends and family. And again, we just really, Mony and I really want to just do something that helps support our fellow community members who are going through a tough time. The holidays can be really challenging for many families. Just not dealing with,
That's right. It could be
surviving.
some really, really lonely time, so please help out. The other thing is that please make a donation online if you can. That is the easiest way to collect that. And again, note Mony Nop turkey drop on there. But if you can't make the donation online, and if you'd like to write a check, you could always write to Tri-Valley Haven and send it to their address at 3663 Pacific Avenue in Livermore, California, 94550.
Hi, welcome to Love, Listings, and Legacy. Christine Dillman of Tri-Valley Haven. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, well, Christine, first of all, I just want to say it's an honor to have you here and just have this really casual chat. And I just want to say that Mony and I are so honored to be a part of Tri-Valley Haven's, just the mission that you're doing. But I wanted you to share with everyone else from your words, what it truly means. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I really want to appreciate both you and Mony. You've been involved in Tri-Valley Haven for many years, so you know the important work that we do.
Absolutely.
You are one of our amazing board members, so I really appreciate the work that you do day in and day out.
Thank you, Christine. Well, today I really wanted to just kind of maybe set some context for today's episode and why I feel like it's so timely with the holidays coming up. And so, in today's episode, with our special guest, Christine Dillman, Executive Director of Tri-Valley Haven, today we wanted to explore together how this holiday season can be very meaningful for our community members, especially as we launch the Tri-Valley Haven's holiday program, which Christine's going to dive in more. But I'll kind of open up to Christine, and maybe, Christine, can you share with the audience here just Tri-Valley Haven's mission and just a brief history?
Absolutely. So Tri-Valley Haven creates homes safe from abuse. We contribute to a more peaceful society, one person, one family, one community at a time. Together, we build a world without violence. So that's our mission, and it's really about creating safe homes. And we do that by serving survivors of domestic violence, survivors of sexual assault, survivors of homelessness, and people who are experiencing poverty. So Tri-Valley Haven has been around since 1977. An amazing group of women started Tri-Valley Haven in 1977. There were just a few domestic violence organizations at the time, so they did not have a roadmap. They just knew that there was this need. They knew that women were being harmed. They knew that women were being killed, and they knew they had to do something about it. They were amazing. Today, Tri-Valley Haven has a confidential domestic violence shelter. We have a 24-hour crisis hotline. So anybody can call day or night and talk to a trained advocate, whether it's 2 in the morning or 2 in the evening if they need help. We have a transitional home where people can stay for up to 2 years. We have a homeless shelter. All of our shelters take teenage boys up to the age of 18.
Okay.
And you might say, of course you do, but believe it or not, many shelters don't take teenage boys. So a mom fleeing with her 12-year-old boy might have to make the decision that she either leaves the 12-year-old with the abuser or she doesn't come in at all. We, of course, never want anybody to have to make that decision. Tri-Valley Haven also has a client choice food pantry where people get to come in and choose the food that's right for them. And that's really been amazing. I think it's just a great, dignified way to give away food to people who need it. We have a thrift store. We offer a restraining order clinic. And we also do prevention and community education. I think that is so important because we really want to stop the cycle of abuse. So we're talking to middle schoolers, we're talking to high schoolers in an age-appropriate way. We're talking about, how to be respectful, how to have boundaries, how to talk to a trusted adult if somebody's hurting you.
Right. Well, Christine, it sounds just extremely inspiring, I think, for me, because when we often think about survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, homelessness, obviously when we turn on the news, there's always the portrayal of that experience via the media. But I feel like, unless you or your family have or know a friend who's gone through it, Christine, it's very traumatizing and it's also very impactful to the next generation. And so 100%. I think one of the things that when you had approached me about, joining the board and just helping just to kind of, serve, I was like, wow, of course, because it's so important because the work that Tri-Valley Haven does, the impact is actually felt with the next generation. And especially 100%. What you talked about, the fact that Tri-Valley Haven, we do allow mothers fleeing with teenage boys because it's already traumatizing enough to grow up in a home with, physical abuse, verbal abuse, and then to be torn from your parent. It's heartbreaking, Christine. So you feel a lot of the pain and the trauma and the suffering from, who you're serving. And, and oftentimes being married to Mony as well in his career as a police officer, you often hear about what they experience as a first responder. And I think particularly with domestic violence calls, he's responded to some that were just absolutely horrendous and very violent. And I also interviewed him in the previous episode where he shared about his love and why he supports Tri-Valley Haven, but he also really brought up some really powerful stories about when he was a police officer responding to domestic violence calls and having a Tri-Valley Haven advocate with him when he had to take police reports or when he had to respond.
So important. He
said it helped him to become such a better police officer responding to these calls, Christine. So it's just so fitting that, now I get to speak with you because I hear it from my husband who's, from the law enforcement side and now from you, from the Tri-Valley Haven side, because you are impacting the survivors.
Thank you. I definitely think we are. And I definitely think it takes a village, right?
Absolutely.
So, we need those amazing law enforcement officers who are going to go out and are going to protect victims of domestic violence and are going to connect them to Tri-Valley Haven where we can, offer therapy, we can offer, restraining order assistance, we can offer shelter. It really takes all of us working as a team because domestic violence is so prevalent, right? Interpersonal violence, they say that 1 in 3 women in the United States will be personally impacted by interpersonal violence. So it is something that Tri-Valley Haven needs to work on day in and day out. The community needs to work on day in and day out. The police department needs to work on day out. We need to work together to lift up survivors and to say, this is not okay. No one should feel unsafe in their homes.
Absolutely.
It is unacceptable. And there's no reason to physically harm somebody or verbally harm somebody for that matter.
Absolutely, Christine. And just to add to your point, as I've grown my friendships and network here in the Tri-Valley, you will not believe how many women who I have worked with or just in the the real estate industry or just through professional networking, Christine, that they are so accomplished, so educated, have amazing titles and positions of leadership that have survived domestic violence.
100%.
I would have never
100%.
thought, but it's a silent suffering. And I think they finally felt that they could trust me to share with me that they are survivors of domestic violence. And it was because they all realized that keeping silent about it's not part of the healing journey. And I think also they felt comfortable coming to me because they know that I serve on the board of Tri-Valley Haven.
And
but
good on you. Good on you for being that person, for being able to, because it's really hard to come forward and to tell someone. You know, victims often feel shame. And right, we all know there's nothing they have to feel shame about, right? The perpetrator should feel a lot of shame. Exactly.
But
it is really hard in this society to come forward. And the fact that you are that person, right? You totally are that person that people can come to, and you're empathetic, and you're also knowledgeable, right? So you've come to the Haven, you've learned, you're at our events. You know, you've done training, you really understand, and you are an advocate in your own right. So thank you for being that to the people in your life.
Absolutely, Christine. There is that level of shame, and sometimes as women, we tend to hide our suffering because we need to be strong for our children.
Yeah.
And we are caregivers, we are nurturers, and so I feel like for women, we are so resilient when we go through stuff like that, and we oftentimes don't want to show the wounds.
Absolutely.
Because we are a role model for our children, and I think a lot of times women, we take on a lot ourselves. So
I'm so just the courageous women that I've been able to work with through my job, and the women who call our crisis line, the women who walk through that door, that is not easy. No. The time when a woman is most at risk of being physically hurt by domestic violence is when she is getting ready to leave, when she is leaving, because she is taking that power back. And that is when we unfortunately hear on the news that somebody was hurt or somebody was killed. So it takes incredible courage to leave. And that's why it is so important that we all be open and available and hear and listen and say, how can I help you? How can I get you to Tri-Valley Haven? Right. What do you need from me?
So important. And now with the holidays coming up, I know we have the annual Tri-Valley Haven holiday program, which Mony and I are super excited about. But
super involved in.
We are very happy to be involved in it. We love it. And so maybe you could just briefly share with our audience about the holiday program specifically, and then maybe the turkey drop and kind of how that gets distributed to our families.
I would love to. So Tri-Valley Haven has been doing a holiday program for about 35 years. And I think around 25 years ago, we realized we were doing it for the families in our shelters. And then we realized that there was a lot of need in the community that were families that were not in our shelters, that families that were in economic need, that also needed help for Thanksgiving and also needed help for the December holidays, whether it be, Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, whatever they celebrate. Sure. So what we do is anyone who's in economic need in Livermore, Pleasant, and Dublin or Sunol can sign up for our annual holiday program. And they will get a Thanksgiving holiday food. And then for the December holidays, they will get that food again, and they will get gifts. So they actually get to shop for free. And it's very empowering because the mom or the dad, they get to, or the, single adults come in and they get to take what they think is right for their family. And then they get to go home. We give them wrapping paper. They get to go home and they get to wrap it for their children. Aww. So it's very empowering. It's not, they are still giving the gifts to their children rather than them seeing Tri-Valley Haven give the gifts to children. And that's really what we want. We don't want to take that away from them. And I do want to say that the community is so generous. We could not do this alone. For Thanksgiving, the Mony Nop turkey drop is amazing. So since we've done the Mony Nop turkey drop, we have not run out of turkeys, and either for Thanksgiving or for the December holidays. So it's been amazing. And I know that you and Mony dress up as turkeys, which is so
Gobble,
fun.
gobble.
It's so fun.
We have so much fun, Christine.
I know. And I feel like people come, they definitely are coming to give, but they're also coming to see you guys, which is so wonderful.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well, Mony and I, we've been married for less than 3 years now, but ever since we started, we started dating, and he's like, yeah, I do this like turkey job. He's like, and I'm like, oh, that's great. Let's do it. And he goes, oh yeah, but you got to be in a turkey costume. I'm like, all right. And I think that was our first one.
You were the one.
That's what he said to me. He's like, that's when I knew she was the one, because she actually donned a turkey costume.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think, thank you, Christine. I think for us, it's an event that we absolutely look forward to every year. And I think, and then in our last episode, when I interviewed Mony about that, I think from him, it stems from his very humble beginnings, obviously surviving a war and genocide. And I think as a child, knowing what hunger meant, and I think understanding that he was like, what? He's like, we can't have this in the Tri-Valley, much less Baltimore. He's like, no.
Right.
So I think
it's unthinkable.
He was really compelled to take action, because he himself, as a child, remember going to bed hungry, and that's probably what drives him a lot to do what he does. And we love spreading awareness about Tri-Valley Haven, and just even the turkey drop, Christine. And we've had friends of ours drive from Berkeley and Oakland, and because you know what, they want to be a part of it. I think they want to be a part of it, and they come with several turkeys, and some of them, if they can't, they'll donate and say, hey, pick up a turkey for me, or so we're really happy that we could be a small part of giving back in our community. So
I think you're more than a small part. Like, honestly, it has grown so much, and really, you all just have made so many people come, and they want to come, and it's a fun way to give back.
It is.
But bottom line, people know that they really are preventing people from being hungry. And so many families have come to our turkey giveaway and our December giveaway and said, if this wasn't here, we would not have holiday food.
Oh.
And like you said, I think Mony probably understands more than any of us what's that like to go to bed hungry. And it is unacceptable for it to happen anywhere in the world. Absolutely. But absolutely here, where there's so much abundance, it's completely unacceptable and unnecessary.
Absolutely, Christine. And I think for me as a child, I grew up with pretty humble beginnings. I, of course, didn't endure what Mony did. I was a lot younger. And so for me, I was born after the war and the genocide. But I remember, as a child, when my parents first arrived here in the U.S. as refugees, they didn't have a lot, but we had a lot of faith-based organizations, a lot of charities that at the time, were helping a lot of families from Cambodia and Vietnam come. And my parents and I, we arrived in the U.S. in December in Seattle, Washington, and there was a Catholic charity that came, and literally my mom and dad were like, there was bags and bags of food. And I was 5 months old at the time, and baby girl clothes. And my mom said it was so cute. I had all these cute little baby clothes, and she was like, she dressed me up like a little doll. And they just remembered, like, wow, this is amazing that these strangers, they were like, we don't know these people, and they're like, we're not even the same religion, right? I think that's when my parents first realized that there are angels out there. They may not look like you, they may not believe in the same faith as you, but they are there to help you. And so even for my family, we were impacted and through other generous strangers. So
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I think that any one of us may need help at some point,
right? And
I think it's incredibly courageous to ask for help. I know it's very hard. I know we have families that were donors and then became, needed to come in and get some help. And vice versa. Sure. People that came in and get help and then have become donors. So I think we never know. And the statistics are so many of us do live paycheck to paycheck in this country that, it's amazing to give back, and it's also amazing to receive, because sometimes households need that, and there's no shame in asking for help.
Absolutely, Christine. And that's why I think we are living in one of the most generous communities
Yes.
In the world. And that's why I think it's just an honor. So on November 24th, Christine, besides dropping off a turkey or maybe just stopping by, if anyone's looking for other ways to support Tri-Valley Haven, maybe just not for the holiday program, but for other, can you maybe share other ways and how someone may support Tri-Valley Haven?
Absolutely. And we do also in December, we do have a big gift. People are doing big gift drives as well. So if you would like to help out the holidays, you can go on our website, which is www.trivalleyhaven.org. But as you mentioned, we have opportunities to volunteer and to help out throughout the year. So we have, Tri-Valley Haven has 7 sites, believe it or not. We have about 47 employees. Not all of those are full-time. But we have over 100 regular volunteers. And those are regular weekly volunteers. So we could not do this without our amazing community, without our amazing volunteers. So volunteers work at our thrift store. Volunteers work at our food pantry. Very well-trained volunteers answer our crisis line. Very well-trained volunteers respond to survivors at the hospital after they've been sexually assaulted. So very well-trained volunteers work at our legal clinic. So there is a volunteer opportunity for you, whether you want to do something that requires just a little bit of training, we have that. Or if you want something that requires 70 hours of training and certification to become a domestic violence sexual assault crisis counselor, we have that as well. I think the most important thing is that, just go to Tri-Valley Haven, again, www.trivalleyhaven.org, and just kind of peruse our volunteer page. And then if you have any questions, we have an amazing volunteer coordinator. Her name is Natalie, and you can email her, you can call her, or you can, honestly call or email any of us, and we'd be happy to talk to you about, how you could best fit in with our Tri-Valley Haven family.
That's amazing, Christine. Well, I just want to again wrap up by saying thank you to you, Christine, the Tri-Valley Haven staff, the volunteers, and of course my fellow board members. We're all doing this out of just our love and our sense of purpose for empowering families in our community who are going through a horrible experience, something that is going to be scarring and traumatic, but the fact that they don't feel alone and they have support and they have resources, I think, comforts me, knowing that, although that happens in the world, that, there are people out there who do care and want to help out. So
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's everything, right? It's everything. Providing hope to somebody is everything.
Absolutely.
And I so appreciate you. You are just a great leader, not only in your community, but at Tri-Valley Haven, and really appreciate Mony as well. So thank you for all you do.
Oh, thank you, Christine. Well, that wraps up our episode with Christine Dillman of Tri-Valley Haven, and we hope to see you all out there Sunday, November 24th from 10 a.m. to 1
Yep,
p.m.
1 p.m.
Yes, and we will
Livermore City
be
Hall.
Mr. and Mrs. Turkey, gobble, gobble. So you can come by, swing by. We've got volunteers. Just pop your little frozen turkeys in the trunk and pull up, and we'll get them out of the car and get them straight to the Tri-Valley Haven food pantry.
So fun.
Oh my God. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And we'll check you out at the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you for joining Love, Listings, and Legacy this week. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. If you haven't yet, go to Apple Podcasts and Spotify to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. Join us next time as we continue to navigate the path from adversity to success, one property and one purpose-driven decision at a time. Thanks for listening.